The Bend Motorsport Park, about an hour from Adelaide, hosts the latest round of GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. The great thing about the SRO Motorsport Group globally is if you enjoy the racing here in Australia, you can go and pursue it overseas and race in all sorts of different places. Cars are out on track. I'm with Brock Feeney, who's had a super year as far as the Supercars Championship is concerned. A massive week for you here. You're going to duck home in between time and come back again for next weekend too, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a busy couple of weeks, Rusty, that's for sure. So here again next weekend. So it's actually great practice. I mean, to do miles on the track only 5 days out from pretty much racing here is really exciting. So it's a bit faster in a GT than a supercar, but still plenty of fun.
A little bit of gusty wind about today, temperatures of about 24 degrees. How does that impact the Audi?
Well, they say 24 degrees. Look at us. It ain't 24 degrees here for anyone watching at home. But yeah, look, it is blowing a gale here, and that's what's keeping the temperature down for us. But it really affects these GT cars. You're going so fast and you're so reliant on the downforce that any wind change actually really affects it. So Brad's done a great job. We're starting second in this one. Hopefully he can pull a 20-second lead and put me in to bring it home. But we'll see how it goes.
He's a guy with a great sense of detail and a real focus on trying to win this championship. Just the little things you were going through with him as he got strapped in a minute ago, that's clear, isn't it?
Yeah, Brad's is certainly one of the best hands I've ever worked with, and I actually don't have to teach him too much about driving. Like, it's very minimal stuff that I'm working with him on. So he's been a pleasure to work with this year. He teaches me a thing or two as well. He's very serious about his racing, and this is his Supercars Championship. This is his be-all, end-all. So he's super proud of that and puts in a lot of effort. And yeah, I'm stoked to line up with him. He's doing a fantastic job.
We're going to take a look at a lap with him in a moment. Before we do that, Ryan Wood is in this garage. I mean, Audi Sport Customer Racing brings a great group of teams together. Next weekend, you guys, you'll be up against each other, won't you? I mean, you are in a real sense here, but still under the same umbrella.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually pretty cool to come work with Woody as a teammate this weekend. Obviously, it's a little bit less pressure for us being here, a lot less going on the race weekend. We get to come here and just race, which is great. But yeah, obviously we're going to be enemies when the helmet goes on next weekend. But yeah, having plenty of fun and obviously learning off each other, which is awesome. So it's been great to work with the Audi guys. Certainly gave me a boost this year. I've been doing lots of racing, which has been awesome. So yeah, just can't wait to get back in the seat next week.
Go and enjoy, and thank you for talking to us.
Thanks, Rusty.
There he is, Brock Feeney. And before we go racing, why don't we take a look at the international layout around the Bend Motorsport Park here. 4.95 Ks in length. Your chauffeur is the man he'll share the car with this afternoon, Brad Schumacher.
Hi guys, Brad Schumacher here from Audi Sport, Team NBC. Jump on for a lap at the Bend Motorsport Park. So down the straight, usually just check your belts and get ready for a big braking zone into turn one. Turn one, hit your marker and trail brake in. Try to keep the mid-corner speed as high as possible through one and flow through two. And then big brakes into three. Hit the apex here so you can make sure you get good drive for the exit to get maximum speed through the long straight and fast left-hander at 5. Left-hander at 5 is full throttle, good aero with the Audi Sport Evo 2 GT3. Big brakes into 6, making sure to keep mid-corner speed and try to get drive without getting too much wheel spin. Then we have flat through to 4th gear, almost into rev limiter before we duck down into the bowl. Make sure to keep throttle progressive through here and keep the car balanced. Then dive it in fast into 11. 12 is a tricky corner to get right, and make sure to get the best drive you possibly can because you have a long straight before we head to 13. So we head to 13. It was a bit tricky today because of the sun, but get the apex right on the throttle as early as possible. Maximum drive, use all of the road. Then hard to keep the rear settled into 14, but if you can flow the car down through here and make sure to get the apex on the left-hander, it's a big long drive down into the second last turn. Again, big brakes down here, maximising your brake pressure and trail braking into the apex of the turn. Maximise the drive. Again, sun was really tricky here today to see your apex at the final turn. Get that apex on the throttle as early as possible and then go for the straight drive home. That's a lap of the Bend Motorsport Park. You're with Brad Schumacher. I hope you enjoyed.
It all takes just over 1 minute and 45 seconds around the 4.95 Ks at an average speed of 165 kilometres an hour around the duration of the lap. It is one of the more challenging laps on the calendar. This is how we got to this point. The Maguire's qualifying highlights show qualifying 2 which was the AM driver doing the job. And there were a few people rolling the dice in this one. Mark Rosser was very competitive in the ACMF car from Team BRM. He'll start third, the South Australian. Brad Schumacher, Brock Feeney's his co-driver, did an awesome job in this car. He missed out on pole by a tiny, tiny margin. It was 0.04 of a second. That was Brock's reaction. And the result of that was this lap from Liam Talbot, the multiple champ, the reigning champ in GT World Challenge with a 1 minute 47.07. He scored Aston Martin's first pole position in the GT World Challenge Australia powered by AWS. It was an outstanding lap for the Valente Rosso driver, and for the first time this year, that car will start from pole position. That's the scene, just on 18 degrees now. You heard from the drivers saying it was the wind is keeping the temperature, feels like cold, and it feels really cool here. But the ambient actually quite high. A little bit of UV on the racetrack. Track temp in the mid-20s as we build up for this one and a rolling start. There'll be an hour on the clock, a mandatory pit stop in the window between 25 and 35 minutes into the race. The AM drivers stop first, then the Pro-Am cars. There's pit stop compensation times for the cars that won last time out. That will play a role. We'll work you through that as we build up to the climax of this race in what has been an epic year in GT World Challenge Australia. The car to beat all season has been Elliott Shute and Jackson Evans. The Arise Racing Ferrari starts on the second row of the grid.
And we worked out the gap to pole in distance was around about 2.2 metres. So that's what 48 10,000ths of a second gets you from first to second. Is roughly 2 metres on a track that's nearly 5,000 metres in length. So super close between the top two cars, and like you said, the top three covered by a tenth and a half. So this is race one here of two, GT World Challenge Australia powered by AWS, and this is at the Ben Motorsport Park. I'm really excited for this one. As for those that joined us last time out at Sandown, they would have seen with a couple of corners remaining, the final lap of the race, there was contact. Sparks were flying basically between Brad Schumacher and Liam Talbot for the race lead in those tricky wet conditions, and Talbot managed to hang on for the win, and it was on between Talbot and Schumacher, and they're lining up on the front row.
Trophy class pole to Matt Stupas and Gary Higgin in the KFC Audi. Renee Gracie, very, very competitive. Starts this one on the third row of the grid outright in the OnlyFans Audi for Team NPC. And then the Aston Martin, as we touched on pole for Pro-Am. The first pole for the brand. The 11th in the career for Liam Talbot in his remarkable GT career. One of the best AM drivers going around. Family watching back at home in Queensland. Here's the grid. Brock Feeney just behind with Brad Schumacher, who starts that car. Mark Rosser starts the 268. Elliott Shute, the West Aussie, the Arise Racing Ferrari. Renee Gracie. I spoke to Steve Brooks, the Kiwi, before this race. He reckons they're in pretty good shape for this one. Paul Lucchini will start alongside Jaden Ojeda. They're on pole for the race tomorrow. The Honduras boys are next. Then Grant Donaldson, Marcel Zalua will line up alongside King. And g'day to Sergio Perez, who's usually behind the wheel of that car. He's just had his ACL rebuilt, so he's watching from hospital. And right at the back, we see Gary Stupas and Gary Higgin, I should say, and Matty Stupas. Adrian Dietz will start the Lambo. Tony D'Alberto will jump into that car at the pit stop for the back half of the race. So the pros to come. The AM drivers will start this one, clock ticking, rolling start this time by. And yeah, the little driver change there for Guy of Valmont Racing. We haven't talked about that yet. Marcel Zalua drafted in to replace his good mate Sergio Perez. They've been teammates and even rivals for a long time. Sergio into some surgery, so Marcel off the bench, and he's the driver you shared a car with at Sydney Motorsport Park earlier this year. And you didn't get the call up again after it, so not sure what happened there.
Yeah, I know. It mustn't have been a good debut. But look, we wish Sergio all the best with the recovery. We know you're tuning in. G'day, Sergio. Hopefully your car goes really well out there today with Marcel and George King, the number 55. Great number, by the way, number 55. But up until this point, we've only seen standing starts today. So we've got rolling starts for our GT World Challenge Australia class and Monochrome GT4 Australia, which you'll see a little bit later on today. So it's going to be Talbot, Schumacher, Rosser, Shute. That's your top four. With Talbot, he'll be on the right-hand side of the grid, the inside into turn one, as the safety car turns its lights off, that'll head into pit lane, and Talbot will control the field. We've got about 54 minutes remaining. This is a timed race. And like you said, there'll be pit stop. It's going to be pit stop compensation time. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. But for now, race start.
And there is a little bit of metal between the two drivers on the front row. There's some beef there. There's some, I don't know, a little bit of tension between Liam Talbot and Brad Schumacher in their battle for bragging rights in GT World Challenge. So this will be interesting. Jamie Whincup holds the lap record here. It was set way back in 2019. Could that go as well? GT World Challenge Australia comes to South Australia with so much on the line at the bend, and they launch their way up towards turn one. The Aston Martin gets the early jump, and Liam Talbot covers his racing line. Everyone swings across to driver's left. Talbot in front. Schumacher's lost a spot to Rosser. Shoot trying to squeeze up the inside in the red Ferrari. Rene Grace is in there too. Everyone cleanly through turn 1, 2 and 3. Talbot first. Schumacher the big loser out of that. Rosser the big winner.
I think Honduras made up a few spots as well, up into the top 6. Brooks dropped a spot, but Schumacher just not getting the jump there, and Rosser with that inside line. There's a move down the inside into turn number 6. I think that's Brooks on the inside of Honduras. Gets that move done. And that's side-by-side. Wyatt further in the background with Lucchini, I think it was, but Talbot out in front, and Mark Rosser up in a second position.
Steve Brooks said it made it all sound so easy when I spoke to him before the race. He said, I'll just do my thing, hand it over to Ryan Wood, he'll go and win. So it sounds fairly simple. It never is that in GT World Challenge Australia. A little wobble from car number 1 through the change of direction there, from the rights to the left, to the left to the rights at this high-speed back end of the Bend Motorsport Park. And someone off the road and around. And if it's the Realtor car, that's a massive blow for the Mercedes team that are looking for their first win of the season.
Have to wait and see. It looked like Lucchini had gone round to the background, and Rosser was a little bit disappointed with his qualifying efforts. He said he tried to time the traffic right for when the tyres were up to optimal temperature and grip and didn't quite nail it. So we're seeing it now, how much pace he's got behind the wheel, that 268 out. He's done plenty of miles around this track. He knows his track quite well. You could say he's a local, as is the team, TMBRF from Adelaide. And it's been a great opening lap for both Talbot and Rosser really putting the pressure on. Oh no, is that the 111 Mercedes?
There's Donaldson off the road. So a couple of dramas early for a couple of key Mercedes AMG contenders at the end of the first racing lap. Talbot by 4/10. Rosser, Schumacher, Shoot and Gracie next with Steve Brooks behind. Then it's James Honduras who started the 47 Superbarn supermarket car. Marcel Zalua behind. Stephen Wyatt 9th. Shane Woodman rounding out the top 10. And Rosser is all over the back of the Aston Martin as they run down to a favoured overtaking opportunity at turn 6. No opportunity this time by, or is there? Talbot very wide. But no opportunity yet, but the door is slightly ajar for the ACMF Audi R8 LMS.
And this is going to work out beautifully if it stays like this for the 268 Audi, because once we get to that pit stop, the Jamie Dane Liam Talbot car is going to have to sit in the pit box for an extra 15 seconds, where the 268 Audi's got no pit stop compensation time. So all Mark Rosser has to do, Crailsy, is just sit there for now and pressure him, although as a race driver, you do get a bit of red mist and want to get the battle done on track.
And they've gapped Brad Schumacher, though. Brad has found some pace this lap. Looked like it took a little longer for the Kelso electrical car to switch itself on. They might be the same brand and same model, the white Audi in front of the green and white and gold car behind, but they're run by different teams. So slightly different philosophies in setting up the car. Team MPC might have elected just to start the pressures a little bit lower, perhaps have that car switch itself on a bit later in the race. And now that car has got some speed. Rene Gracie actually particularly quick on this lap as well in the OnlyFans car. But away we go up the straight, and Talbot feeling the pressure. And Rosser with the fastest lap with a big toe.
He's right there
on the run up the hill. So Talbot defends. You can move back halfway, but not much further. No room around the outside. But the exit will be compromised a little bit for car number 1. Rosser is looking racy.
And Talbot, we know how good he is at defending. We've seen it in the past. And especially when he's out in the race lead. That's one thing he's not going to want to give up. He needs to try and stretch that gap as much as possible, because if we add another 15 seconds to that time that he has out in front, it's going to be pretty costly. So he just needs to keep the eyes forward. But there's so much speed in that Audi of Mark Rosser, and we've seen it, we've spoken about it in the commentary, Crailsy, where they've had things just not go their way this year when things have been looking so good. So it'll be great to see this car get a good result this afternoon. And in behind that, Brad Schumacher, he's a further 2 seconds adrift. And then there's about a second back from him, which is Elliott Shute. Rene Gracie still doing a great job there in 5th outright, leading the AM class. Then it's Brooks, Konduras, Zulua. He's moved up into 8th position. Then Wyatt, Woodman, Adrian Dietz, and Paul Lucchini now up into 12th, albeit 30 seconds behind the race lead.
Yeah, 2 of our 4 race winners in the Pro-Am class this year, 1 and 2 on the road at the moment. In fact, all of our race winners are 1st through 4th place, but Gracie sticking with Elliott Shute here in 4th and 5th position. Elliott, young guy from South Australia, from WA. Sorry to those in the West for that. He's been having a really good season and has been the anchor of this program with Jackson Evans this year that's helped them to what is currently a 30-point championship lead in the GT World Challenge Australia standings. Talbot returns serve with the fastest lap of the race, but the margin's still 0.4, and Rosser not letting him get away. It's then 3.3 seconds back to Schumacher. They gapped him to the tune of a second last time round, the 2 leaders. Elliott Shute, 50.8, was quicker than Brad Schumacher. Gracie quicker than all of them in front at the moment. So all starting to compress, and Talbot doing what he can to fend off the Audi.
Based on this, you'd say that the Audi of Schumacher was a much better qualifying car than a race car, because we've been speaking about the gap, or barely any gap. It was less than half a tenth between those two in qualifying, but he's really struggling here, and Talbot's just gone fastest in the first sector, but Ross has matched him. So Rosser right in behind. That gap between these two, I mean, you can see it on your pictures, it's less than half a second, and Rosser just applying so much pressure here. And then you've got Schumacher in behind. I think Elliott Shute now has started to pick up the pace. He's within a second of Schumacher, and that there, 3rd and 4th, really is the battle for the championship.
Liam casually dropped the other day that he just churned out a casual 70 Ks running, so he's tuning himself up to some marathon stuff later in the year. Lucky to go 70 metres up here in the complex, but all power to him. I'm sure Charlie and Kenzie and Theodora are cheering him on from home, and that Aston Martin is on to set the quickest lap of the race this time by. But it's so close. It's a game of tenths out in front at the moment as they race towards that mandatory pit stop window.
So could you run 15 laps around this track, Crailsy? That's no. 70 Ks.
No.
15 laps of this. So they've done 4 laps. They've completed 4. So another 3.5 times that.
Thomas, I couldn't run out of the commentary box if I needed to. Rosser just had a little jiggle there under brakes at turn 1. The Audi, traditionally a very strong car under brakes. It's always been a car that carries a lot of downforce. When we go to Bathurst for the 12-hour every year, inevitably the R8 is the quickest car across the top. From the cutting down to the elbow, just a really good aero package. Here it seems it's the final sector at the moment is where Rosser's clawing the time back on Liam Talbot, who's strong in the first 2. It's now 4.3 seconds back to Brad Schumacher, and Elliott Shute has got to the back of Schumacher as well, more or less. Couple of car lengths there, with Gracie going along with them in the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th place.
Yeah, they've absolutely checked out, but you look at the times here, Steve Brooks has been doing a ripper job. 41.4 in the first sector, so he's matched what the leaders are doing in the first sector. So that's great form from Brooksy, and whether he can get back onto the back of Rene Gracie, who's in 5th, and she's still applying that pressure to Elliott Shute. So there's about a second gap between Schumacher, Shute, then Shute and Gracie. Someone's been off.
I reckon it's the leader. Is it the Aston Martin?
Yes, it is.
Liam Talbot off the road. The race leader has gone. Big puff of smoke, and I saw the timing change. Mark Rosser assumes the race lead, and Liam Talbot tumbles down the order. So that's Steve Brooks in behind, who's running in 5th place at the moment. And just in behind us, James Konduras. What has gone on with the Shannons car from Valente Rosso?
Looks like there's some damage on there too, and there's damage all on the right-hand side of that car. Now, whether there's been contact between him and Rosser, because that's very unusual. The whole right-hand side of his car and the rear diffuser as well has got battle scars. So I don't know if something's happened there or if he's spun and touched the tyre barriers. There's more bodywork flying off the car as well. And that whole right-hand side of the car is just like it's been in a massive war. So look at this diffuser. You can just see it's all broken up at the back there. And then the right-hand, this will be a great shot through here. There are a lot of marks on that right rear corner, and then also on the front right, just across the headlights. So really unsure what's gone on there, but that's dropped them all the way down to 6th or 5th. All right, here we go. So getting a shot now, and he's just had a moment, and he has touched the wall. He has got the tyre wall there, so he's lost it on his own.
So he's dropped the wheels off on the outside there, hasn't it?
And the car's spun around, hit the tyre barrier, all on his own. What a shame, because he led the first 5 laps, and if anything, it looked like he'd actually started to put a little bit of a gap, and someone's gone off in the background. That's Renee Gracie. I think that's the triple right. She might have dropped the wheel off there, so we've seen that from time to time. Maybe what went off that last one. So easy to do here, but wow. Here we go, got a replay. Yeah, off the last of the triple rights, and lucky not to get that wall, but so costly for Liam Talbot.
Well, 2 leaders make errors unforced on their own, and it costs them the lead. So the outright and Pro-Am leader off, the AM class leader off. It's all blowing up as we race towards the pit stops in GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. Mark Russell leads, Brad Schumacher second, Elliott Shute is third. Turn of events. Rosser now 4.1 seconds, thank you very much, over Brad Schumacher, with Elliott Shute up to 3rd place. And through all that, remarkably, Liam Talbot, who essentially had a crash, has recovered. He's still only 10 seconds off the race lead and running in 4th place. So Gracie's off has helped him through that whole sequence too.
But where that's costly is we know he's got to serve that extra 15 seconds. So he's not only dropped the 10 seconds, you've got to add another 15 seconds. So it's essentially a 25-second loss. And so lucky not to have even more damage with that car. And I think he just went wide over the top of turn 13, dropped the wheel, and then he's obviously tried to correct it. A bit more bodywork flying off the car as well there coming out of turn 10. And yeah, a lot of tyre marks on the right-hand side of that car. The right side of that diffuser's got a lot of marks on it. So this was the corner that we saw he went off at. Easy to do. It's off camber. It's blind. You lose the front end grip as you come over the crest of 13 and drop the wheel. And lucky that there was that tyre wall there on the left-hand side and didn't do more damage. So you can see the marks there on the right front and the right rear as well.
Drama that's unfolded this year. There's a novel to be had to tell the story of the championship this season, with some of the things that have gone on and some of the dramatic races we've had. It's been an incredible show, and it continues to deliver the excitement we've come to expect from GT racing. .40 minutes on the clock. GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS here at the Bend. We're watching Liam Talbot, and one of the big stories of the race so far, well, arguably the big story of the race so far. Keep your eye right of screen. There's the Valente Rosso Aston Martin Shannons insurance-sponsored car, runs wide at 13, into the dust, spins, makes quite heavy contact with the protected wall on the inside. There's a tyre barrier there, so at least it wasn't raw concrete, and then recovers and drives away and resumes in what was 5th position. However, just after that, we saw the OnlyFans Audi of Renee Gracie at this point of the racetrack. Down here at the change of direction at 10 and 11 have a big off on her own right, and that dropped her right down the order to 8th position at the moment, so Talbot back to 4th. Mark Rosser is the leader, 4.2 seconds is the margin. Elliott Shute sits in 3rd just behind, with Steve Brooks in 5th place. Now the little disclaimer I'd throw in there about car 88 is that they have no pit stop penalty time. If they can stay somewhere in the mix, they stand to gain potentially jumping Liam Talbot, Shute and Brad Schumacher in the pit stops if they stay in close company.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other car that we've spoken about is this one right on screen, the 268 Audi. So all going well. There's no reason why they won't pop out in the race lead after the stops as well. So we are almost 20 minutes into the race.
It's a brave thing to say, though, Thomas.
Yes.
There's no reason why. I don't know if you've watched any of the races this year. A lot of things have had no reason and yet have still occurred this year.
Very true, very true.
Let's go to Cam.
Just thought I'd jump in, boys, on the Aston Martin Vantage of Liam Talbot. I just went in to check with the team just to see if there was anything that might have been an issue with the car, wind affected. They said no. Liam immediately put his hand up, apologised. It was a mistake at his end. The car's okay, as you can tell. He's pressed on, and they think it's in a window that it's going to be able to run relatively cleanly to the end. But boys, you pointed out the pit stop is going to be the real challenge for them.
Yeah, absolutely, Cam, and that's where that off's been costly, because it's just a double whammy for that team, that car, and for Talbot, who will hand the reins over to Jamie Davis. We've got a different angle here. It's a great shot from our awesome drone we have down at turn 6. So he's gone wide, lost the rear, counter-steered, wiped out the 50-metre board, and that is literally right where the tyre barrier ends. So whoever's designed that, at that point of the track, put that tyre barrier, give them a tick of approval, because, well, Liam Talbot should be giving them a tick of approval, because it's just saved the right-hand side of that car, and he's pressed on. And when you think about it, the fact that he's still in 4th place after all of that is quite impressive in itself. So his last lap time, we'll just see what he does when he crosses the line, but I don't think any of that's been costly in terms of car speed, because he's matching the leaders here, and he's only, what, maybe 2/10 off to the middle sector of what Mark Ross is doing. So in terms of outright raw pace, I don't think it's really affected that Aston Martin.
Well, to the point, the fact that it hit square meant this probably hasn't done much to the alignment of the car and the handling balance and suspension geometry. So they might have got away with one there. They'll be thankful for that tyre bundle, as you said, because if that was raw concrete that he hit, then it would probably be game over for the car, not just for today, but potentially for tomorrow as well. 4 seconds the margin. So it's just ebbing and flowing at the moment, by the way, the leaders for these two Audis. But I think Brad's got to deal with Elliott Shute, who's just easing himself up to the back of this Audi at the moment.
And just touching on that moment Renee Gracie had at turn 10, what that's done is that's swung the race lead around for the AM class as well, with Kundouris taking over the AM class lead there, and he's got about an 11-second gap over Renee Gracie, courtesy of her off. So that's been really costly for her too. And as you touched on, Quailsy, that happened within 30 seconds of Talbot's off. So there was two things going on there within the space of about less than a minute, as Mark Rosser is in control of this one at the moment. He's got the clear air now, courtesy of Talbot's mistake, and he's just punched out a purple first sector on this lap, and he's got about a 4-second margin back to fellow Audi driver Brad Schumacher.
Elliott Shute still in 3rd, Liam Talbot 4th, Brooks next. Then Kundouris, as you said, leading the AM class, with Marcel Zalua in behind, having taken over that car and actually going quite quickly. Marcel's just set a personal best first sector for that car for the race so far. Then Gracie. Then it's Stephen Wyatt, the West Australian driver, who's got Jordan Love alongside him again this weekend. We've seen both of the Love boys in that car this year. Jordan was away racing internationally, and Aaron stepped in for a round, which was cool to see, and did a really nice job too. It's good to see Jordan. He and Jackson Evans are great mates. They actually lived together for a while while they were racing Porsches in Europe. So they're really enjoying that team environment down there at Arise Racing. Off on the opening lap was Paul Lucchetti. So he's recovered to 10th place no pit stop penalty for that car, but it's still going to be costly, even with Jaden Ojeda to plug in at the end. So they'll be hoping for some help at the end for some safety car intervention, perhaps. Grant Donaldson running 11th. We've seen that car off the road as well. Shane Woodman in 12th position at the moment and rounding out the 4 AM class contenders. Then we go back to Adrian Dietz in the Lamborghini, and Gary Higgin is the sole trophy class runner and he's running 14th. That's the field. This is the Canberran James Konduras. He's 6th. And the pit stop window will open very, very soon for the AM class contenders.
Yeah, we're about a minute and a half away from that opening, and then a further 5 minutes after that is when they'll open for our Pro-Am class. Brad Schumacher now starting to find more pace out of that Audi. He's just gone purple in Sector 1 on this lap, so a bit later than he would have liked. That gap is out to just under 4 seconds over Rosser and Schumacher going off the last race that was held at Sandown. They finished second there, so they're going to have an extra 10 seconds to serve in the stop. Chute will have an extra 5 seconds, and the way that it sits now, Elliott Chute's about 1.2 seconds behind Schumacher, so it should, as it stands, they should switch in the pits, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. But we have seen in the past where so many little things can go wrong in these pit stops. It's easy to do. Phillip Isle in the opening round, there were so many pit stop infringements up and down the lane. If you don't hit your minimum time from the start of pit entry to the end, you can get a penalty. And all the cars have got these little race logics in them, we call it. It's up on the dash, and it's like a GPS beacon at the pit entry line to the pit exit line. It knows how long you have to stop for. You put that into the system before the race, and when you stop in your box, it actually counts down to when you need to go again. And once you drive off, it gives you basically a live delta of how close you are going to be on that pit exit, and it tells you, all right, you need to, well, you can't speed up, but if you need to slow down a little bit, and obviously you can't slow down too much in the fast lane. But that's what the guys have been, they test it and trial it through practice to make sure they're right on that limit, and ideally you nail it for the race. So that's why if you get a penalty for something like that these days, generally something fundamentally wrong has happened.
Or just an error somewhere has dropped the ball. Yep, agreed. You know pit stops are approaching, and the AM and trophy class window is open now, so they can pit, and indeed Donaldson and Woodman are the first to take advantage of that. The moment the window opened, they dived into pit lane, their track position worked well. You know the pit stops are approaching because you start to see a little bit more colour on the timing screen as people start punching out personal best sectors. Bit of traffic here for our race leader at a really awkward position for Mark Rosser coming across Gary Higgin in the KFC Audi. And that will cost him some time. They were going bang for bang sector times. It was about a 10th between them on that lap. In fact, less than that. So we'll see what the damage is. With that extra time that Schumacher's got, I wonder if he elects just to stay out a little bit longer and make the advantage. So Brad Schumacher sets the quickest lap of the race, that time by, at a 1 minute 49.15. And got 9/10 of a second out the race lead.
Yeah, but it's not going to matter once they pit and they take that extra 10 seconds. So Ross at the moment can just cruise, and the last thing that they'll want after the pit stop sequence is a safety car, because their advantage will be gone. So in theory, it should be Rosser from Chute, Schumacher, Talbot, but then remember Brooks is in there somewhere too, so Brooks should be able to jump the two in front of him, because like you touched on earlier, there is no extra pit stop time for Steve Brooks and Ryan Wood in the 88 Audi.
Ryan Wood's been one of the great joys of this championship this year, hasn't it? A guy with not a lot of GT racing experience in the season in the Porsches in Michelin Sprint Challenge. In fact, still holds a lap record here in the one-make Porsches. But he has, like Brock Feeney as well, has taken to these cars like a proverbial duck to the pond. As Renee Gracie peels off into the lane to make her mandatory pit stop. That's going to be an interesting fight towards the end of this with her and the Konduras boys. Theo Konduras will take over the Superbarn Supermarkets Mercedes AMG. They've got the shorter pit stop time in this race with a DNF at Sandown last time out. Renee Gracie has an extra 15 seconds for her stop, having won the AM class at Sandown. but that might well condense at the end. Liam Talbot, purple middle sector. Brad Schumacher on the set, another fastest lap of the race.
And Talbot is, once again, plenty of pace in that Aston Martin, because he's just set the fastest first sector on this lap. So that damage that was caused hasn't affected him at all. And Stupas comes out of the lane right in front of our race leader. Once again, awkward timing. We've seen awkward timing of pit exits a few times today. We saw it in the Porsche Michelin Cup race, and we've seen it for Ross a bit earlier. And it's all going on here, Rusty.
Wandered down, Tom, to the Superbarn entry here at Tagani. James, hey, that's great for you guys. Bits going on in the AM class so far, though.
Yeah, plenty going on. We'll see how Theo goes. He's got a decent car, fair bit of understeer, but if he just drives around it, we should get home, hopefully.
Okay, how were you dealing with that on the run? Like, what sort of things were you doing to cope?
Just holding the brake a bit longer to get it to turn in, trying to get the weight transfer over the front, and a good exit and keep it. You've got to be consistent here. One little off just costs you so much time.
Okay, before we let you go, Renee's obviously had a little bit of drama, but you're in a good position here now. You feel like you've got enough to do this?
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully we don't get a safety car. That could change things.
Okay, thanks for talking to us. Well done.
Thank you.
James and his brother Theo, they've been racing together for such a long time, and they continue to be very passionate about it. They've had a couple of class wins on the mountain in the Bathurst 12 hour, been very successful in GT racing and one-mate Porsche racing as well. It's cool to see. 24 seconds the margin, first to second in the AM class. But based on qualifying times, I reckon Renee's going to be a second or two a lap quicker, so that could condense up as the race progresses. We'll keep track of that for you as this plays out.
Now, the pit window, I think, is going to open roughly in about 20 seconds. I wonder if any of the cars further down in the line will take this opportunity on this lap. We'll just have to wait and see here. We're just approaching the 28-minute mark remaining, which will be 30 minutes into the race, and we'll see if anyone decides to pit.
I don't think anyone, it might, only Lucchetti, maybe Wyatt, could be the two that get there when that window opens. Race control has noted a pit stop procedure issue for car 111. Steve Brooks is in. Did he get in time? Well, just.
Yeah, I wonder, because we didn't see it come up on timing. It's showing a pit stop procedure like you just touched on for 111. It hasn't come up on our screens yet that the pit window is open.
Oh, it must be. Zillua in as well.
Yeah.
Trust that Team NBC are very much on top of what they're doing down there at their end of the garage. So Ryan Wood will jump in, but you're right, normally the notification that we get on the timing screen, the official notifications, didn't pop up. Regardless, they're in the lane, so they were the first ones. But I think, to your point, they were there just in time. The 4 leaders had to go around again because it wasn't quite open in time for them to dive in. 1.7 seconds now, Rossiter Schumacher. So the 888 Audi has come alive late in this stint, and I wonder if that could be a good omen for Brock Feeney late in the race. The problem is he's going to be up against Jackson Evans and Alex Peroni and some real gun drivers, and the track position on account of their longer pit stop is really going to hurt them.
We haven't seen anything yet on our end in terms of if the pit lane is open. What will be interesting to see if these guys pit, and they do.
Yeah, it's definitely open from a time point of view. The moment that 5-minute window for the AM cars expires, it's open for the Pro-Am cars. We just didn't get the official notification, which is confusing, and I know everyone in pit lane will probably blow up about that as well. Regardless, the leaders are in the lane. Ross at Schumacher shoot. And to the point of how hard Brad Schumacher was going, when he got to the pit lane line, he was locked up behind the rear wing of Mark Ross's car. So he did a good job at the end there. That's damage limitation for their extra pit stop time.
So here's Brock Feeney, our current Supercars Championship leader and Repco Sprint Cup winner, taking over the reins of Brad Schumacher. Schumacher gets rid of his seat insert.
Just for those watching at home, my colleague here winced a little bit when he had to roll out how well Brock Feeney's going, because like most people, you haven't quite been able to stop him this season. He jumps behind the wheel. Alex Peroni, the young Tasmanian, will do the same for the ACM Finance team at BRM, and then Jackson Evans will jump aboard the Ferrari, Jamie Day, in the Aston Martin, with the longest pit stop of the quartet out in front, having one last time out. Now, the rejoin with Ryan Wood is going to be the interesting one for mine, to see where the Wolfbrook Racing Audi peels out. They were the first ones of this Pro-Am contingent to get into pit lane. So watching where this car emerges, for example, relative to Ryan Wood, will set the tone for the end of the race. Will it be comfortable or will it not be? And I think it's going to be very comfortable.
Yeah, I think he had about a 13-second gap over the Brooks car anyway, but this is going to be the battle to watch. See where Ryan Wood pops out on our timing screen. He's just coming out of the final corner now. There he goes. And he's going to be clear. I don't know what's going on with the Talbot car. That Talbot car is still in the pit lane.
Well,
so
I wonder if they're taking that extra 15 seconds just to fix some of the damage from the impact that Liam had early in his stint.
I think is that longer than
they've been in there
10 seconds though,
yeah.
because
Ryan Wood has just set the fastest middle and last sectors of the car race on his outlap. So he's certainly making up as much time on his outlap as he possibly could, but he's ended up about 8.5 seconds behind Brock Feeney. So Jackson Evans has rejoined second, so net gain for the Arise Racing Ferrari. Feeney and Schumacher have dropped a spot. Wood and Brooks have gained a spot. Talbot King have lost one.
So I'm just going to look at this outlap. So the first sector for Feeney was 2 minutes 14. So that obviously includes the pit lane time. And I'm going to just see how much extra longer it was for Jamie Day. It should have been an extra 5 seconds on that. So roughly a 2 minute 19. So we'll just see what happens when we get through there, as the battle now between Evans and Feeney has just absolutely come alive. Feeney knows how important it is to get in front of this Ferrari, because this is the battle for the championship.
Both stopped at the same time, so they've both got the same level of tyre temperature and pressure, but this is absolutely vital from a championship point of view. The Audi must finish in front of the Ferrari in both races this weekend. Feeney has a look down the inside. It's going to open the door, but Jackson Evans uses the traction of the Ferrari to get out of the slow speed corner brilliantly and hold on to the spot. But Brock Feeney's right there. What's the straight line speed difference? The Ferrari's usually pretty handy in a straight line department, but can Feeney get past up here at turn number 1? Oh, he's going to have a look, but Evans holds on. And this battle wages for second and third position. And Feeney right now has no way past that number 26 Ferrari. Let's get down to Rusty.
Krause, I can't see the action at the moment, so if that heats up, you let me know and we'll jump out of this interview. Liam Talbot, just what happened for you? Was it affected by the wind? I mean, it's difficult to see coming out of 13 there sometimes as you come up the rise. What unfolded?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It could be the wind. I'm committing really hard. We need to know what we've got for tomorrow coming back through the pack. We're just lacking speed, and across 3 manufacturers, 6 pro drivers, the gap between me and the pros been relative, and now suddenly in the Aston, the gap between me and the other AMs is closing very closely. So yeah, we're just lacking serious straight line speed and just trying everything. And Mark Rosser behind me was doing a good job, but he just in a straight line, he just can tow up to me. So it's I've got to go like buggery through all the corners and then bleed time down the straight. But yeah, BOP change, please.
Okay. The crew from Valente Rosso had spent some good time on the car there. Then what's the damage like? How's it affected the car and so on?
Yeah, the car's fine. We're just lacking straight line speed, which we have at Sector 2 in Sandown last round, which is obvious. So it is what it is. It's been a tough season. It's taken us this long to work out that the straight line speed's down, and yeah, be nice to get some help. Felt like a victory getting pole, considering we're handicapped in that respect. But yeah, it is what it is.
Thanks for talking to us. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Rusty, with Liam Talbot. Alex Peroni's just set the quickest lap of the race. 14-second lead, but our attention is on this fight. And it's not just for second and third in the race. There's a bigger picture here. This is championship stuff. And every point that Brock Feeney can get back for that man who's smiling away in the garage, but I'm sure is feeling the pressure a little bit. Every point he can take back away from car 26 is utterly vital. Brock Feeney must get past Jackson Evans from a championship point of view. Ryan Wood, meanwhile, is hauling these two in as well. And last time by was a full second quicker than these two. So the Wolfbrook Audi is cruising up to the back of this fight for second and third place.
Yeah, Jordan Love's also on a great lap here as well. 47.4 for him in that 77 Ferrari. So he's set the fastest lap of the race so far. Alex Peroni is just building that gap up out in front as well. So he's cruising out in front. Well, maybe not cruising because he's going as fast as he can, but great lead has he got over Jackson Evans, 14.5 seconds. But like you said, this battle between Evans and Feeney, and I was just going to touch on that pit stop for Talbot and Jamie Day. That cost them a further 35 seconds. So they are about 40 seconds behind Brock Feeney. So if you take off that extra 5 seconds I had, so 35 seconds extra in the pit stop. So not quite sure what happened there.
And just to touch on some other housekeeping, Donaldson is in the lane now, serving a drive-through penalty for that pit stop infringement. So car 111 drops to the back of the AM class as a result. Just under 20 minutes to go in this one. It's all going to play out here at the Bend. Peroni, Evans and Feeney, the top three. Feeney continues to chip away. All these leading cars with the pros behind them now punching out personal best lap after lap. 47.7 for the leader, 47.8 for Evans, a 7.7 for Brock Feeney. Ryan Wood consistently half a second quicker still than these two. So the Wolfbrook car will hunt them down at this pace and get to the back of them, and it could be a three-way fight. George King has got to 5th place in the Guy Valmont racing car. So that's a pretty good return for he and Marcel Zalua. That's a shot through a Pirelli. On some traffic here. Who does the right thing? Fresh out of pit lane for Grant Donaldson, and really good heads-up driving to get out of the way, but it has got Feeney right to the back of Evans once again. He just edged that margin out this lap, and that closes it back up.
Jordan Love has got has dipped into the 46s now, so 46.9 for the Ferrari driver. And Ojeda was on a lap ago. It looked like he caught some traffic from our track map, so keep an eye on the pace out of that 66 Realtor Mercedes, albeit down in 7th position. That car will start from pole position tomorrow with a blistering time from Jaden Ojeda this morning. So Peroni out in front, Jackson Evans is second, Brock Feeney third, and Wood hunting them down. Rusty?
Your point about Jaden Ojeda, observed during the pit stop for that car that the team at Tagani changed the tyres down the working side of that Mercedes, down the left-hand side. Remember, we're going clockwise here the entire time, so that cops quite a lot of work. They changed the tyre on that side.
Battle is on, and the Aston Martin works its way past the Mercedes AMG of Honduras. So this is the comeback drive. Jamie Day for Valente Rosso. This is the race leader, Alex Peroni, who's setting personal best after personal best out in front and leads the race by 15.4 seconds. The battle is still on between Jackson Evans and Brock Feeney. Ryan Wood remains in 4th place and continues to hunt down those two, just 4.3 seconds behind 3rd position now. George King running in 5th place. The young Brit, who has been a solid performer this season. He's got Marcel Zalua alongside him, and they're running 5th outright, which will be a great return for them. But they do have Jordan Love hunting them down, 5.7 seconds the margin from 5th to 6th place. Jaden Ojeda just sets the quickest lap of the race with those working side tyres added that Greg Rusk reported. So new rubber on the working side of that car sets the quickest lap of the race at 46.6. Jamie Day in 8th position in the Aston Martin. Theo Honduras 9th and leading the AM class by 17 seconds over Renee Gracie. It was 24 seconds after the pit stop. So Renee's already nibbled 7 seconds out of the AM class lead. How close could she get with 16 minutes to go in race 1 of GT World Challenge Australia?
Well, she was about a second of a lap faster on the last lap, so if she continues at that pace, I don't think it's going to be enough, because it's a 17-second gap, 15.5 minutes remaining, so you'd say maybe 12 laps. It's going to be tough, so see whether or not she can ramp it up a bit. But Peroni, 15-second gap to second, so we've got roughly a 15 to 17-second gap for both the Pro-Am lead and the AM lead, and that battle between Evans and Feeney still going on 4/10 of a second between them, and then it's maintained about a 4-second gap back to Ryan Wood. So these guys are now trading punches in the mid-47s, which is on par of what Ryan Wood's doing. So even though these guys are going at it, the lap times are the same as the car chasing them in Ryan Wood. We've got a replay here of, is that Jamie Day going off in the Aston Martin at turn 10. Easy to do, very easy to do there. Just understeer wide a little bit, drop a wheel, and it's sayonara off there. But thankfully, didn't cost him too much. So he's just coming around the final corner now. What lap time will that be for Jamie? We'll just see as he crosses the line how much time he actually lost.
It was about 4 seconds in the middle sector.
Yeah, so there you go. It's a 52.5. So back to our second place runners. Second and third place runners, I should say. Feeney keeping the pressure on here on Jackson Evans.
You get 25 points for a victory in GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. It was 30 coming in. So irrespective of what happened to car 26 today, they were going to lead the championship going into tomorrow. But this would just make the margin bigger. 3 points to the better of Jackson Evans. 18 for second place, 15 for third. It's so important that that Audi finishes in front of the Ferrari. They'll get another go tomorrow. But to take this championship fight down to Hampton Downs and the last round in late October, early November will be absolutely critical for Brad Schumacher and Brock Feeney. And as you touched on, it's just dipped under 4 seconds now, that gap. In fact, it goes back out as they cross the line for Ryan Wood, who's pressing on, and Ojeda is doing Ojeda things in the Realtor car and just going ridiculously quickly. Unfortunately from us, from a race point of view, he's 51 seconds behind the leader. So not really in the mix after that off for the car earlier in the day.
Yeah, that opening lap account for Lucchini. Not quite sure what happened there, but it was down at turn 10 or 11 where he lost it, or perhaps came together with someone, and that's been quite costly for them. But look forward to seeing what he'll do tomorrow from pole position, and we've seen what he can do from the front. We saw it at Sandown in those wet conditions, got to the lead and got a really nice, healthy margin before the driver change and the pit stop. But Alex Peroni, what a great story for Team BRM. They won up at Queensland Raceway, race 2 after race 1 contact on the, opening straight. They didn't even make it at turn 1 when there was contact between him, the 7 Audi of Tim Miles, and there was a Ferrari. I think that was the Elliott Shute Ferrari that was involved in that also. So for these guys based out of Adelaide, the home win would be pretty special for them, and it's thoroughly deserved. He's just catching a bit of traffic there. I think that is Ben Schutz just letting him through as he starts another lap. We've just got under 12.5 minutes remaining. The ACMF Finance Audi doing the job here, and as he crosses the line, it's about a 47.7, so just enough pace to maintain that lead of 15.5 seconds. But Ojeda, once again, Crailsy, purple in the first sector, the only car that's lighting up the timing screens at the moment.
Not sure if he'll trouble that Jamie Whincup lap record from 2019. Remarkable how long that has held, given the evolution of GT3 cars over the era. But 1 minute 45.66 is the GT3 lap record at this venue, so 46.5, 9 tenths away from that from Ojeda. Paul Lucchini's done an outstanding job, and so this car starts from pole tomorrow. Let's assume that Ojeda's going to hand it over in the race lead, and let's assume then that there might be a little margin over it. They won't have a pit stop penalty time relative to the cars around them as well. He has, Lucchini I'm talking about, has evolved so much as an AM driver in the last 18 months. Very little racing prior to linking up with Jaden and the Tagani team last year. So it's a really interesting little thought bubble to look ahead to tomorrow. If he can be handed this car in the race lead, I reckon they've got a shot.
It'd be great to see. And they're yet to get a win this year in that Mercedes. I think are yet to get a win this year. So
they won once last year, but that was in a 3-hour enduro race at Sydney Motorsport Park, where there's sort of more strategic variables you can throw it at. The pro driver did a bit more work there as well, to be fair to Ojeda. But in the 1-hour format, they're yet to win at all. So this would be a huge result if they could get one tomorrow. I know we're prognosticating a long way ahead into the future, but potential's there, and certainly the car is quick enough to do the job.
Yeah, like you touched on, they're not going to have any pit stop compensation time, so that's going to be crucial to be out in front and know that when you come into the lane, you're going to be serving the minimum time in the pit lane, and then it'll be all down to Lucci. And the timings, I just had a little moment there. I was going to say, I'm not sure if Feeney got that move done. They just switched on our end, but Jackson Evans still holding second. The gap back to Ryan Wood down to 3.2 seconds, so he's made a little bit of inroads there. Not a lot. We've got about 10 minutes remaining in this one, plus a lap. So we've got Peroni from Evans, Feeney, Wood, George King up in 5th, so that's a pretty good job. I think they started in 10th. So they've moved up 5 spots, so they're in 5th for 55, so a lot of 5s there. Then we've got Jordan Love in 6th, Ojeda, like we've been touching on. He's in 7th, Jamie Day in 8th, and that car, yeah, it's been a tale of woes today, hasn't it, after qualifying? Qualifying on pole was fantastic, led the early stages, and then Talbot had that wild off out of turn 13. Long pit stop, a lot longer than they should have had. And then Jamie Day had a small off at this point of the track, turn 10, 11. So they're down in 8th. So yeah, a little bit of a disappointing one for those guys, because it would have been cool to see how they could have ended up, considering Evans and Feeney are 2nd and 3rd.
For Jackson Evans, this has been a great drive, and he's still punching out personal best efforts, and he's got that margin out to just over a second now over Brock Feeney. His Saturday performance at Sandown, I think, will stay with a lot of people for a lot of time. The way that he responded with everything going on around the passing of his close family friend Tim Miles and everything around it, he was just utterly faultless. And when you're having a tough patch in supercars, and to be fair, Jackson on occasion this year has been the best of the Brad Jones Racing drivers in the SCT logistics car that he's taken over this season, but pretty tough full-time campaign this year. It was such a nice reminder of the level of quality that exists in this expat Kiwi, now based on the Gold Coast. He was exceptional, absolutely faultless, and similar to the way that he's dealt with this pressure from Brock Feeney today. And Brock, he's the most successful racing car driver in Australia this year, regardless of category, and Jackson is gapping him now. So it's just a nice reminder sometimes. You come into these cars and remind people of what you're capable of. It's a bit of a flex in a way, just to go, hey, I'm still all right. I can still do this, even if it's tough in the other camp.
Yeah, certainly boosts your confidence. Speaking about a confidence boost, he's just gone purple in the first sector. So, yeah, Jackson Evans is well established in these GT3 machinery. It is, yeah, rookie season for him. Oh, sorry, 2nd year for Jackson in supercars, just finding his feet. And he's been doing a great job, like you said. He's been sometimes the lead BJR car, and they're not easy cars to drive, the supercars, and all it takes is if you're a little bit out of that setup window, it can be very costly. We'll head down to the pits with the one and only Cameron Vanden Dungen.
The one and only. Thank you very much, Thomas Randall. Great to have you back at the commentary box. But Mark Rosser, when we're having a chat mid-race, it's either a good sign or a bad sign. And at this point in time, it looks like a good sign, but still a bit of racing to go.
Yeah, there's still a little bit more to go, but yeah, it's nice to have you here for good reasons for one. So yeah, thanks for coming as always. It was always nice to see you. So.
I remember having a chat with you guys when you had your first race win in this category, and now it just seems to be coming much more regularly. Do you just feel that momentum as a combination and as a team?
I don't know if I entirely agree with that, because I think we probably shattered a few more this year, so a bit more regularly would be nice. We had good speed this year, but yeah, a few mistakes, a few bits of bad luck as well. So, but yeah, today so far so good, so let's hope we can finish it off.
We're not going to count any chickens because there is still time to go. This wind, nearly every team is talking about this wind that will not go away. How much grief did it give you behind the wheel?
Yeah, it was actually a bit tricky because at the start it wasn't all that strong, and yeah, then my tyres started going off. They got a bit hot and overpressured at the end of the stint, and yeah, the corners where you need them, we had a tailwind there, so it was like really tricky with the rear around there.
Well, mate, here's hoping we see you in the stop area.
Okay, thank you. Cheers, Stop.
Thanks, Cam. Nice work. And the crew from Team BRM in the background. Mark Rundle, the team boss, with his daughter. Michaela watching on as well. Shane Wilmot, who's been such a key part of this organisation for a long time, since he was a young up-and-coming mechanic. And the engineer is Marcus Koch. He's a guy that you've raced with, Thomas, and engineered your campaign in open wheel racing. Very, very smart guy and a gun engineer. It's a great program. they're hanging out for a second car. They would be a great opportunity for someone to rock into a team that understands a GT3 car and gets them switched on. But if you're unfamiliar with the story of BRM, they've been around for a long time, set up by Bronte Rundle in the mid to late 1990s. Both Mark and his younger brother Craig raced Formula 3 cars. They won the Australian Formula 3 Championship. James Manderson first, and then Carl Reindler. Yep, that Carl Reindler, F1 safety car driver. In 2004, they won the Gold Star a bunch of times. Mitch Evans is a former driver of theirs. Ben Barker is a former driver of theirs. Bruno Senna is a former driver of theirs.
I've driven for them.
You've driven for them as well, I know. So it's in S5000, absolutely. So it's a great outfit. And this is as complete a performance that they've strung together, and of course anchored by Mark Rosser at the start and Alex Peroni next.
You know what's been interesting to look at, Crailsy? The gap between Feeney and Wood has come down to less than a second and a half. So that was 3.5 seconds a few laps ago. So Ryan Wood's really taken a bit of time out of Feeney. Took 1.5 seconds out of him on the previous lap.
It looked like and felt like it took a while for that Kelso electrical car to switch on in the first stint. Is it now possibly paying for that by dropping off towards the end of this? It sounds counterintuitive, I know, but the other question mark is how do they play this? Now, yes, they're both run by Team MPC, Audi Custom Sport Racing Australia, but they're both individual customers putting their money into the team, and they both want a podium finish out of this, and I'm talking about Brad Schumacher and Steve Brooks, man from Christchurch, the South Island of New Zealand, in the property market over there. He's doing some cool stuff with young driver development too in New Zealand in their junior racing series over the ditch. I'm sure we'll see him in action over the summer in the Next Gen NZ Championship 2. He's a good, fun race car driver and always very fast. And this combination with Ryan Wood came about through a potential sponsorship deal. He said, "Oh, why don't you just come and drive my car instead?" It's a pretty good return. And all of a sudden, this could be a podium position on the offing for that squad. And they've had a solidly decent year. They've been second on a couple of occasions this year, but yet to crack for that major win. Having said that, Thomas, if they finish where they are in this race, there might be a bit of strategy involved here, you know. Okay, Ryan, if you finish behind Brock Feeney, you're fourth. What does that mean? No pit stop penalty time tomorrow. So they would have a short pit stop in tomorrow's race. So I wonder if that might just play into the mind of the engineering department down there at Team MPC.
And the other thing is Ryan Wood this morning in qualifying, he qualified third in front of Brock Feeney. So he'll be on the inside. And then Jackson Evans, the Ferrari that's challenging Feeney or the 888 Audi for the championship, starts second. So I wonder if there's any team calls to say, hey, Ryan.
And we've been talking about the fact that Jaden Ojeda starts from pole with Paul Lucchetti. That race at the end, and there's a little delay there for Wood getting past Rene Gracie. Theoretically, the AM battle at the end, two cars with the shortest pit stop time would be Lucchetti versus Steve Brooks at the end of tomorrow's race. And that's the joy with these races as well. We've found this throughout the season. You can forecast forward because you know in a way how it's going to play out. The fact that the pro driver finishes this race and then starts the next one, and you know where the pit stop times are going to be.
But we have seen in the past, if we go back to Sydney Motorsport Park, Jackson Evans and Shute won both races, even with the extra pit stop time. So anything is possible in GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS.
Minute and 30 to go. 14 seconds the leading margin for the young Tasmanian Alex Peroni. What a performance this has been from this squad. Albert Callagher came on board with his ACM Finance brand. He backed the team in their S5000 championship winning days as well, with Joey Mawson, who won the Gold Star a couple of times. And they've built a really strong program. 2.7 now, Evans to Feeney. So he's broken the back of the Audis as Jackson. And this will be a championship lead extension for the Arise Racing GT squad, as Ferrari look to win back-to-back titles, having won it last year with Liam Talbot and Chaz Mostert. Hey, we haven't seen much of George King in this race, but still P5 at the moment for Guy of Almont Racing.
Albeit 28 seconds behind Ryan Wood, so he's just having his own race.
Well, actually, 0.3 of a second behind is Jaden Ojeda.
I was about to say that. Yeah, Ojeda right in behind him. So whether there might be some team orders there, say, hey, you know what? I think maybe let the 66 pass, but we'll see. I've been in this game behind George King before, and there weren't any team orders there. I had to work my way through.
I don't know if you need team orders with Jaden Ojeda behind. He's coming regardless.
He's going to go the long way around here. Not quite. So George King's definitely putting a fight on here. And these two want to be careful. They are teammates at Tagani. So, and there you go, right around the outside. See you later. That was kind, yeah.
You're grumpy you didn't get that level of service in Sydney, aren't you? The clock has ticked to 0. And this will be the last lap of the race for Alex Peroni and Mark Rosser. Comfortable margin. Can stroke the Audi home and deliver them another race win this season. It's been a dominant year for Ferrari. This would equal the win count between Ferrari and Audi at 4 apiece, with the final 3 races of the year to go. So little bragging rights up for grabs. And this team looking for their second race win of the season in GT World Challenge Australia. A big career 4th for both of them. They won twice last year as well. Like we touched on, if you're with us with our qualifying coverage this morning, it's been a bit sink or swim for this squad. They've never really had that ultimately consistent weekend. They're either winning it or they're in all kinds of drama. But today they are winning it, and they are winning it well.
Yeah, they haven't really put a foot wrong today at all, have they? Rosser qualified in the top 3, got to second place straight away, and then gained out of Liam Talbot's mistake at this corner at turn 13. And it's just been eyes forward for this group. Team BRM, the ACMF Finance Audi. Alex Peroni has been doing a great job in his stint behind the wheel as he heads down to the penultimate corner on the final lap, Kralsey.
This has been as comprehensive a winning performance that we have seen all season long in GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. Mark Rosser with a racy start to this one. There he is, did such a good job early. That's the engineer, Marcus Koch. That's Alex Peroni. A dominant victory on Saturday at the Bend. The 4th win of the year for Audi, the 2nd for Team BRM. Mark Rosser and Alex Peroni have smashed them today. And just as crucially, the checkered flag flies for 2nd position for Jackson Evans and Elliott Shute, who will extend their championship lead. Crucially, a valuable 3 points gained over the number 888 Audi, driven by Brock Feeney and Brad Schumacher. There's Gracie, but Theo Kanduris, who has already crossed the line, will win the AM class. So James and Theo get the AM class victory in the Superbarn Supermarkets Mercedes AMG GT3. And that is their first win of the season too, having finished runner-up on 2 occasions this season and 6 top 3 finishes without a win. They have been super consistent, the Kanduris brothers, and that is their first win of the year. That's a huge result.
Yeah, the whole team at Tagani will be wrapped with that as well, won't they?
Drive-through penalty for this car. So Ben Schutz is going to finish 3rd in the AM class with Shane Woodman and get themselves a podium. And there's the Aston Martin crossing the line. Fairly pragmatic interview earlier, I thought, with Liam Talbot about what was going on with that and the error that saw him in the fence and damaged. So the Aston, having led early, crosses the line and finishes 8th with Jamie Day. Wow, what a race. Some storylines to unpick from that one. Alex Peroni and Mark Rosser win for the 2nd time this year. Jackson Evans and Elliott Shute next. Brock Feeney and Brad Schumacher, Ryan Wood and Steve Brooks. I reckon they're looking strong for tomorrow. So too, Jaden Ojeda and Paul Lucitti. George King and Marcel Zalua, really solid top 6 for Marcel, the super sub. G'day to Sergio Perez watching at home. Jordan Love and Stephen Wyatt 7th. Day and Talbot next. Then D'Alberto raced his way to 9th at the end with the AM class win going the way of the Kanduris brothers from Canberra. Rene Gracie 2nd in class. Ben Schutz and Shane Woodman next. Trophy class winners Matty Stupas and Gary Higgin. What an afternoon at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park, and a win for Audi. 4 apiece for the 4 rings and the Scuderia so far this year.
Have they been off the podium? It feels like the Ferrari's not been off the podium this year.
They've had a remarkable season. The Maguire's race highlights bring us up to speed with this one, and it was an early jump into the lead for the defending champion in car number 1 in the Aston Martin. Busy behind though, the Ferrari shuffled back a little bit early in this one. Rosser was the beneficiary there. He jumped Schumacher, and that would prove to be crucial early. They then engaged in a really entertaining battle for the lead, and the Audi was unable to find his way past until this moment, when Liam Talbot dropped 2 wheels off on the exit at 13 and made quite heavy contact with the tyres, spun, recovered, got the car back into the race, despite the fact it was trailing some debris throughout that one. And then the pit stop sequence started. The winners, Evans and Feeney, gained ground on that, and these guys came out in front with a big margin, having no pit stop penalty to serve. So it was a comfortable lead for Alex Peroni to manage, while these two came out, and in the back of them, headlights ablaze, was Ryan Wood, who was going, as always, very, very quickly. This car spent an extra 35 seconds in pit lane than it needed to, while the team quite rightfully checked. This was the closest Brock Feeney got to getting past Jackson Evans down at turn 17. He showed the nose. There was racing room given. The Ferrari hooked up out of the slow corner, though, and held on to the spot, and ultimately drove away slowly to grab the spot and extend their championship lead. Second win of the season for these guys. Mark Rosser, a happy boy as Alex Peroni brings car 268 home for a race win at the Bend.
I think Ross would be pretty happy with that result, considering the year that we've been talking about, all those little 1%ers. That's what gets a race result, and to get that win for those guys today has been fantastic. So looking forward to hearing from what Alex Peroni will have to say after taking the reins of that car and driving to the checkered flag first. And we'll head down to Rusty, who will talk to our victors. Rusty.
I think we're going to do this from a class perspective to Thomas Randall. So just waiting for Gary Higgin and for Matt Stupas to get his helmet off there. Nice work in the KFC Audi there. Matt, that's for you. Great stuff.
Yeah, look, it's a great day. Look, the trophy class has less power, less downforce, but we're very grateful to be a part of the big boys too.
I mean, it's still a valued addition to the series. What's that one mean to you?
Be nice if we had a few more cars.
Well, you can twist some arms. We can hopefully make that happen.
A few Porsche people. No, it was good. It's good to do. I made too many mistakes, but that's because I'm a bit rusty, Russ. But but it's all right. It's good to do, and yeah, we'll come back tomorrow and start. And I'll actually be a bit more excited starting because I'm around guys that I'm actually can compete with. So yeah.
Well, hopefully you're in the groove for tomorrow. Congratulations today, boys. Well done.
Thank you.
Righto, let's move up. The Konduras brothers have had a very good day out here at the Bend Motorsport Park. So we're going to wander through the Parc Fermé here. Congratulations. We don't go too far. We want to get you and your brother. Let's come back up to the car. Pretty cool outing there today, and a good battle in that class. I know some cards went the way for the both of you. They're pretty happy too. Yeah. Nice work. You've worked for that, haven't you?
Yeah, it's hot in the car. It's not hot out here, but yeah, we worked hard, and James did a great job, handed me the lead, and yeah, I did the easy part.
From memory too, you guys have got Luke Yilden. Like, what's the kind of coaching like along the way, knowing that you might have had the chance to win this and you've done it?
Yeah, thank God for Luke. He helps a lot. Yeah, no, Luke's been helping us all year, so it's been great.
You talked about battling a bit of understeer to begin with, but it must have felt good handing the car over to your brother in that shape and knowing that you had a chance of winning that.
Yeah, it was a long 30 minutes, but he did a great job bringing it home and not making any mistakes. The key here is don't make a mistake, cost you too much time.
Congratulations to you both. The AM win in race 1 here today. We go to our outright winners, and they're actually debriefing here with Jaden. No, Jada, can I dive in here? Hey, well done. Jackson Evans giving them the congratulations too. I mean, that thing looks like it was on rails. This is a great South Australian story for this team, and the way the weekend has gone, that must have felt, damn good.
Yeah, we said at the start of the weekend a win minimum, so we're happy to get it. Yeah, Mark did all the work for me. The team did a great pit stop. We came out with a big lead, and it was just about consolidating it, which hasn't been that simple for us this year. So really happy to bring it home, but also have really strong pace as well. So yeah, we've got a bit of a mountain to climb tomorrow, but who knows what can happen.
BRM, ACMF Finance, like a really good crew of people behind this. What does the result stand for and mean to them?
Yeah, it's huge. You know, we feel good about it, but we did put a bit of pressure on ourselves this week. It is our home track. We've done a few laps here. We both weren't entirely happy with quali. I didn't do a great run, so it's nice to get redemption here, especially for Sandown too. And yeah, credit to the team. We've come in leaps and bounds this year. Our pace has been strong basically every race, so happy to get another win with Mark.
He's a nice endorsement for him about you setting that up. Pretty cool.
Yeah, well, let's see how he goes tomorrow. He's got a big job tomorrow ahead of him, so we've got to come back. We've got obviously the extra 15 seconds and starting from P6 or something like that, so looking forward to see what he can do then.
Obviously some drama for Liam Talbot up front, but you guys had to stitch that together. Did you know, not worry about it, just go to your own plan?
Yeah, I just focused at the start, I'll just try and stick behind Liam and see what I can do, and luckily I got Brad at the start and just stayed on Liam's tail, and yeah, just the pressure maybe just got to him a little bit. He made a mistake, and yeah, good luck to us for that.
Okay, I am holding you two up. There is some champagne to be sprayed. Head to the podium. We're going to be there very shortly. Congratulations.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Thanks, Rusty. A chaotic stop area there. Everyone trying to talk to everyone at the same time and celebrate a race in the afternoon here at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. A bit of sunlight breaking through the clouds. Here's what's to come still on 7+. Stick around wherever you might be watching. The Ferrari Challenge Trofeo is coming your way next with their first race. You'll hear the dulcet tones of Cameron van der Dungen and Greg Rust and Renato Liberto for that one. And then a championship critical race for First Focus Radical Cup Australia at 20 to 4 this afternoon. And then this evening at 4:50 p.m, Monochrome GT4 Australia will charge up towards Turn 1. 29 cars, a huge array of different brands in the mix and contention for that one. It's going to be pretty spectacular. So still much to come. Make sure you stick with us all afternoon and then come back tomorrow because we get to do it all over again. More Ferrari, a Radical Championship will be decided, and then blockbuster races for Monochrome GT4 Australia and Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia, plus Group S, which have been a great addition to the program this weekend, the classic sports cars here at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. And then if you're thinking about doing some travelling, the final round is at Hampton Downs in New Zealand, so maybe get across to Auckland and see the finale for GT4 and GT3. Let's celebrate that one. A big day at the office for GT World Challenge Australia. Time for the podium.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the podium presentation for Race 1 of the 2025 GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS at the GT Festival here at the Bend. Presenting the trophies today, Marcel Bode, the commercial manager for Motorsport Pacific for Pirelli. Thank you for being here, Marcel. Please welcome the top 3 place cars for the Pro-Am class. In third place, on Saturday afternoon, driving the Kelso Electrical Team MPC Audi. How about making some noise? Brad Schumacher and Brock Feeney. In second place today for Arise Racing GT in the Ferrari 296 GT3, Jackson Evans and Elliot Schutz. And it was a masterclass from this South Australian outfit, Team BRM, ACM Finance, your winners on Saturday. Mark Rosser, Alex Peroni in the Audi. They will make their way to the podium there. Our colleagues here at the media will grab a quick photo, bit of vision of the moment with the trophies here at the Bend Motorsport Park. Try and stay on top of that podium there. Ladies and gentlemen, your GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS Pro-Am winners. Drivers, it's time for the celebrations. We have 3 podiums to bring you here this afternoon, so we will do a little reset, courtesy of our SRO Motorsports Group colleagues here. Get some fresh champagne set up. Let those who are enjoying the Pro-Am celebrations to gradually make their way off the podium here. And we'll launch into the AM class podium in just a moment. is a little warmer out here by the podium where we're fractionally sheltered from the wind that the drivers have been talking about this afternoon. Right, we are ready for the AM class now. In third place this afternoon here at the Bend, driving the 16, Shane Woodman, Benjamin Schutz for Black Wolf Motorsport. Time now for second place in the AM class today in the OnlyFans Team MPC Audi. It's Renee Gracie. And in first place today, James and Theo Konduras, the Superbarn Supermarkets Tagani Motorsport Mercedes AMG GP3. That'll feel sweet. Nice smiles from both the Konduras brothers. They head up to the podium there. We'll kind of rinse and repeat here, get another photo of the moment. Nice camaraderie there. Well done, Theo. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS AM Class Podium. Drivers, time for the celebrations. Had to be done, didn't it? All right, we have one more podium to bring you. It's a super fast reset here. I think we're good to go, so let's launch into it. Finally, the top place car in our trophy class here on Saturday at the Bend. Please make some noise. Show your appreciation for Gary Higgin, Matt Stupas in the Team MPC KFC Audi. Head on up there, drivers. Little moment for Matt and for Gary there. And good to see everyone showing their appreciation too. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS trophy class winners. Time for the celebrations.
Oh, a few people love a podium more than Greg Rust as the celebration continues here at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. We're going to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. After it, the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli is coming your way.